The rain was hammering down like it wanted to erase me from the earth. I sat there under that cold concrete bridge, knees pulled to my chest, cardboard box turning to mush around me. Water dripped from my hair. Mixed with tears, I couldn't stop. My name is Lily Thompson. I was 21 years old. And in less than 3 months I had gone from having a tiny apartment, a waitressing job that paid the bills, and $8,000 in savings, to this. Nothing. It had started so innocently. A message popped up on my social media from Victor Hale, investment coach. His profile was polished, full of success stories, graphs that looked real. He said he could turn my late grandma's small inheritance into something that would finally let me breathe. No more double shifts. No more worrying about rent. I trusted him. I sent the first 2,000, then 4 more, then the last 2 when he said there was a processing fee. Every transfer felt like hope, until the messages stopped, the account vanished. My money was gone. My landlord didn't care about excuses. Pay or get out, he said. I begged my stepdad for help, the only family I had left after Mom passed. He looked at me with disgust. You did this to yourself, Lily. Figure it out. The door slammed in my face, my suitcase thrown onto the wet porch. That night I walked until my feet bled, and ended up under this bridge. The smell of wet pavement and diesel fumes filled my nose. Cars roared overhead like thunder that never stopped. I whispered into the dark. How did I let this happen? Little did I know. The worst was still coming. For 2 weeks I lived like a ghost. I scavenged food from dumpsters behind fast food places. The grease and rot making my stomach turn even as I ate. I washed in gas station bathrooms when the clerks weren't looking. Nights were the hardest, the cold that sank into your bones. The fear that someone might hurt you. I kept my backpack clutched tight. All I had left in the world. One freezing morning I slipped into the public library, pretending to read while I used their free computer. That's when I saw the ad. Abandoned fixer. Upper home. $1. Buyer must complete repairs. Small town. 40 miles north. My hands shook as I clicked. The pictures showed a 2-story house with broken windows, vines crawling up the walls, roof sagging like it was tired of standing. The description said it was part of a city program to revive blighted properties. No one wanted it. I had $43 in my pocket and a heart full of nothing left to lose. I filled out the application right there, using the library address. 2 days later, I got the email. Approved. I hitchhiked to the town, signed the papers with trembling fingers, and received a single rusty key. The house smelled of mold and old wood the moment I pushed the door open. Dust floated in the weak sunlight. The floorboards creaked under my sneakers like they were whispering warnings. But it had 4 walls, a roof mostly, and it was mine. That first night I slept on the bare floor with my jacket as a pillow, listening to the wind howl through cracked windows. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel the rain on my face. I cried again, but this time there was a tiny spark of hope flickering in my chest. The next weeks were pure survival and sweat. I patched holes with plastic sheeting I found in the shed. I scrubbed black mold off the kitchen walls until my arms burned. Every night the house made sounds, floorboards settling, pipes groaning, sometimes a faint scratching from upstairs. I told myself it was just an old building, but the more I cleaned, the more I noticed things that didn't belong. In the attic, behind a loose board, I found a small wooden box. Inside were yellowed photographs. A little girl who looked exactly like me at age 10, standing next to a woman I didn't recognize. On the back, in faded ink, Lily and Aunt Clara, 2012. I had no Aunt Clara. Deeper in the box were letters. One was addressed to my mother, dated years ago. I'm sorry I had to disappear, but your cousin Victor, he's dangerous. He's been taking what doesn't belong to him. Keep Lily safe. Victor. The name hit me like a slap. I sat on the dusty floor, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. The investment coach who ruined me. His real name was Victor Hale. I kept digging. Under a loose floorboard in the bedroom, I found bank statements, old IDs, and a faded birth certificate. Victor Hale's real last name was Thompson, my mother's cousin, distant family I had never met. He had changed his name after a family fight over inheritance. My grandma's estate, the same money that had trickled down to me, he had been stealing pieces of it for years. The investment wasn't random. He had targeted me on purpose. He knew exactly who I was. That night, the scratching sound came again, louder. I grabbed the flashlight and followed it to the back wall of the upstairs hallway. My fingers traced the wallpaper until I felt a seam. I pushed. A hidden panel clicked open. Inside was a small safe. With the key from the wooden box, it opened. Stacks of cash, not enough to make me rich, but enough to fix the house and start over. And on top, a letter addressed to whoever finds this. In Victor's handwriting, "If you're reading this, Lily, I'm sorry. I watched you grow up from afar after your mom cut me off. I thought taking the money would finally give me what I lost. But this house, it was always meant for you. The real inheritance. I couldn't bring myself to sell it. Use it. Live better than I did." My knees gave out. I sat there in the dark, flashlight shaking in my hand, tears streaming down my face. The man who destroyed my life was blood. He had watched me suffer. And in his own twisted way, he had left me this house as some kind of final payment. The betrayal cut deeper than the cold ever had. But inside the pain, something shifted. I wasn't just a victim anymore. I was standing in the middle of my family's unfinished story. And I could write the ending. I used part of the cash to repair the roof properly, install new windows, and make the house warm and safe. I reported Victor. The police said the evidence was enough to start an investigation. Whether he ever faces justice, I don't know. But I do know this. I'm no longer under that bridge. I'm no longer alone in the dark. Every evening now I sit on the front porch of my little house, watching the sun set over the quiet street. The same wind that once howled through broken windows now carries the scent of fresh paint and new beginnings. I still think about that rainy night under the bridge. I still feel the cold in my bones sometimes. But I also feel something stronger, the quiet strength that comes from surviving the worst and discovering you were never truly lost. If you're out there right now feeling like the world has thrown you away, remember this. Sometimes the place that looks like the end is actually the beginning of everything you were meant to build. I was Lily Thompson, 21, broke and broken. Today I'm Lily Thompson, homeowner, survivor, and finally, free. Thank you for listening to my story. If it touched you, share it. Someone out there might need to hear that even after the deepest betrayal, hope can still find its way home. Hope lay half, hope lay heim, hope, heim.